Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Why Question
Hello.
podcast, episode 15. Wow.
15.
What is it in 4 months?
4 months next week.
Oh my god. Damn, it's gonna be like half a year soon. In 2 months. Pretty crazy.
I mean, yeah, when you think about it, like 4 months kind of went by like
Yeah,
snap of
wow.
a finger. It feels like 4 consecutive months. Well, not yet, but
That's impressive. We've done quite well. And I hope everyone's
I
been
thought
enjoying it so far.
maybe I thought maybe we'd stop after around like 10 or something
Well,
and
I
be
thought
like,
three
all right, we've.
episodes. I thought we'd be done.
No, I think around 3 episodes. I feel like we still have plenty of ideas,
Yeah.
but after around 8, and we were like, wait, what do we start talking about now? I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's gonna
I
be
think the
like two
fact
more
that
episodes and we're
we
done.
haven't even missed one. Like, we've actually managed to do it every Sunday. It's been.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
proud of us, man.
crazy.
I'm proud of us. And
That's
yeah,
actually nuts.
I hope everyone's been enjoying it thus far. We're not planning on stopping, so
Not
keep on
anytime
listening.
soon, at least.
Tell your friends. Yeah, today.
Tell your mom.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, today. Why do we stress? That is what we're talking about.
Like someone
Why
mentioned
do we
already.
stress?
Because of women.
Yeah,
End of the podcast.
there we go. Women is the cause of all stress.
I
See
thought
you
you were
next
about to
week.
say all problems. I'm glad you said just stress. At least it's easier to feel like drag it back in, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, stress. What's your initial thoughts? I'll let you lead.
Stress is kind of a difficult subject to kind of narrow down
Mm,
because like everything people are so different. So what I perceive as being stressful, you could see as being completely normal or like not even think about. Like I've learned over the years talking to a lot of different people, especially my mom. She stresses about like
mm,
everything. My dad as well to a certain extent. So maybe that's why I've become so like stress free because I've just grown up seeing so many people stressed about like everything that I've kind of just
true.
like gone the opposite way of being more of the thoughts of why stress about this and this. If you could just kind of think about it a different way or just take it like more relaxed, that you don't have to constantly stress about things. But
Yeah.
I've realized over the years that a lot of things that someone might be like, oh, this is like the most stressful thing in my life. The next person could be like, what? I've never even thought about that as being stressful at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think is interesting. It's like how can one thing be so stressful that people sometimes don't even like show up to school or work or like things like that because they're like so stressed about this one thing, and then the other person just goes through it with it like without any problems.
Yeah, I think those kind of stresses are the stress we don't need. Like they're the kind
Yeah,
of manufactured stress in our minds that is completely useless. Whereas I think there's good stress that motivates us because if we're stressed about
I don't,
like survival,
actually,
I think it's
I
a
don't think
kind of survival
stress is the
mechanism.
right word. I don't think any stress is good. I mean, you have. I don't think stress in and of
I
itself
was
is like a
thinking about
good.
this earlier in the gym because I was doing legs and obviously I was putting a lot of stress on my legs. And I was like, because I was thinking about this exact thing. I was like, is stress always bad? But then the way I saw it, I was like, no, because the stress I'm putting on my legs now is a good thing because it's allowing it to grow.
But I don't. You're not really putting stress on your legs. Like you're just putting.
I put a lot of
You're
stress on my
putting like.
legs. Oh my god, bro,
No,
I
but
was
it's not.
stressed.
I don't
I get,
think the right word is
I guess that's
stress
physical
to when you.
stress. Yeah, there's physical and mental stress, isn't there?
Yeah, and so it's not. I'm not sure if. I think whenever I think we also categorize stress sometimes because if you're like nervous about doing something or excited about doing something and you're
Yeah,
worried that you won't do well, that's not necessarily stress.
true. I
That's
think.
just you having an expectation of something you care about,
Yeah. What
which
do you
is good.
define as stress? Like, if we separate mental and physical stress first, then I think yeah, mental stress is all mental stress might be kind of not needed. I think.
I think
But what's the
stress
definition of
is
mental stress? What like?
mental stress to me is just any thoughts that negatively impact your ability or like want to do something.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you really think about it, stress is just for most of the time, stress is just thoughts about something
that hasn't happened.
that might happen
Yeah,
on the negative side. As in, there's no. That's why I don't think there's. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anything such as like good
yeah,
stress, because stress always comes the most from. I mean, the most common example is like, oh, I have to do a presentation for class. I hate standing in front of class and like speaking. I'm so fucking stressed, and so many people stay at home or like skip it or ask their
yeah,
teacher if they can like get away from it or don't have to do it. That type of stress, the only thing people are worried about is like, oh, what if I forget what I'm going to talk about? What if I
yeah. It's not
stumble? Like,
useful.
what if I start like crying? Like, it's just the most negative emotions or the most negative outcomes possible is what stress leads you to think about in those scenarios, in like
Yeah.
the bad
Do you
scenarios.
think was when I was thinking about it earlier? I was like, say if we did completely remove stress, there's the question like, then do we lose ambition, motivation? That or is that completely separate? Do you reckon?
I don't think stress is a motivator. I think it's a demotivator.
I don't know because I think like I've got because there's some people who are they thrive on stress even though it makes them
No, I
feel
don't think
bad.
I
It,
I
I
don't
think
think that's possible.
the stress, say the stress of like you know not having enough money, for example, like a simple like oh I'm stressed
No,
about
that's a worry.
is that but then what is the definition of stress? Like what's the line? When does a worry become stress?
When you aren't able or you're choosing not to do something, at least this is to me, when you're not able to do something or you're choosing not to do something because you're stressed about the possible outcomes,
Yeah,
that's stress to me. That's what I've
yeah.
seen growing up, at least. That's like how stress has
I
worked
think
in my like life, or like seeing like around like what people do
that's
or don't
almost
do.
like anxiety as well, isn't it? Like worry and
I think stress is closer to anxiety than like worry or anything
well, I
remotely
mean,
good.
yeah. I think we can live a life without stress. I think
I think humans would be better off without stress.
yeah.
I'm not saying
Stress is
that
almost like
because
it's like it keeps you contained. It's like a it's like a box. This stress. I guess stress can encompass a lot of kind of worry because if we look at stress as purely negative, stress can come from worrying. I think stress is a it's like a manifestation of worries and fears, and that stress is the box that makes you do certain things, like work a shit job,
stress
for example.
you can literally die from stress.
Yeah, yeah. When you and I think that's like almost
You can literally
turning yourself into an
overstress your
animal.
own body into breaking down because of the amount of like stress that your
Yeah,
body is experiencing. I wouldn't never classify that as being like a positive emotion
but
or
no,
positive outcome for anyone at all.
I think stress
And I'm
is
saying,
like it's one of the kind of lowest like vibrational feelings, and the more stress you have, the lower your kind of mind goes
oh weird.
into your subconscious, purely subconscious, and you turn more into an animal. Whereas, say if you live without stress, you kind of almost go higher and higher on this scale of consciousness, and then without stress, you're
You unlock your potential to
yeah,
do
you're
things
living
because
way more
you're not
consciously and letting
and you're
life
not blocking
happen.
yourself from doing things because of stress.
Exactly.
Like I said, there are so many things and opportunities that people have not gone for because they've been stressed out about the possible
Yeah,
outcome
that's true.
of negatively, and then they don't take that like leap of faith because they're overcomplicating it or they're overstressing about it. So they're like, no, 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 it's better to just stay
I
away.
think stress is just like it's like the resistance to just the flow of like life because it stresses your mind kind of getting pulled to different fears and like things that might happen, probably won't happen,
Yes.
And
Exactly.
say if life is like the flow of life is just a straight line, right? Effortless. Everything just grows and happens. Like the example of a tree doesn't try to grow. It just happens. It's a straight line, right?
It's just yeah,
So
yeah.
imagine we're traveling down the straight line of just life, existence. It just flows in one straight line. Stress, I think, pulls you off that line. It pulls you, say, from, and then you're just traveling in. It's almost like a sine wave, either side of the line, and you're getting pulled from one side to the other, stressing about things that don't actually matter to the just
I
flow of
think
life.
even more of like a clear like image to me, stress to me is like, let's say you take a fully grown tree which has
Mm.
plenty of branches in it, right? All of these branches could symbolize in your life different paths that you could try out to take, like different things that you could experience or to build up your like root, like the core of your being, right? And to me, stress is kind of like a lumberjack who just wildly goes around, starts fucking chopping off all
Yeah,
these different branches, literally cutting off so many like experiences and
yeah,
things that
yeah,
you could
yeah,
have done in your life because it's just like whatever it feels like it just goes no, you can't do
yeah.
that, and then you
Stress
don't
is
do it.
keeping you in that box to do the things that you
And it
think
also
matter.
limits and in return, it also limits your actual growth of the tree. So, you know, the tree
True.
gets smaller, it gets weaker, it gets more like more
Yeah,
brittle, easier to fall over. It's just there's nothing good about stressing, in my opinion.
yeah. No,
Because let's say you
I
take
agree.
away let's say you take away stress. That does not mean you don't have worries anymore. It doesn't mean you don't have expectations, and it certainly doesn't mean that you have like uncertainties
They
about
just don't
things.
affect you. They just
It just means that
you're detached
you're
from them.
more likely to actually go do something that you wouldn't have
Yeah. I
if the
think
stress wasn't there.
one thing I've just thought of, stress is almost it's like the attachment to worries and fears. It's attaching yourself to it, and then
Yeah, I think
physically, then
it's
you're
kind of like
actually doing things with your body
yeah,
and
I
mind
think it's kind of like the glue, in
to.
my opinion.
Yeah,
To
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to think about it. Stress is like
it's
because stress isn't kind of it's back to earlier that finding that line between like stress and then worries and fears and anxiety. I think yeah,
mm,
stress is the glue between those feelings and your consciousness and being aware of it. Because if
yeah,
as soon as you're
that's how I
stressed,
would look at it.
you're fully aware of those fears, worries, and things, and it's making you consciously do things. You're
You're like
removing your
almost
free will.
hyper focused
Yeah,
on the worries. And I mean, maybe there's some biological reason to why we have. I mean, there must be, right? To why we have stress.
yeah. I think it goes back to the survival
I'm
kind of
assuming
instincts and food
I'm
and
assuming it's something, yeah, something to do with survival. Let's say, I guess, I mean, the stress does increase your adrenaline, so I guess
yeah.
you technically need stress to survive in that sense, as in like the
That's the
stress
like bottom of
induces.
the pyramid.
That's
The things
oh, I'm
that
pretty
we've
sure
already.
stress is like for the most part, it's like a fight or flight
Yeah, yeah,
reaction
yeah, yeah,
in your brain.
yeah. I
Actually,
read something
I
about
just
that
remember
earlier.
that now. I'm pretty sure that's when it
It
usually
is.
triggers. The problem is that triggers for people now on things that they're like worried about. Like the fight or flight
Yeah,
survival
yeah,
like
yeah,
mode kicks in, and you start stressing over things that you don't need to stress about at all. And some of these things, because life is completely different, can be like daily occurrences.
yeah,
So you could literally end up having a fight or flight response to daily occurrences in your
yeah.
life.
Literally, what I read earlier. It's so stress. Literally, what you've said. I'll just say it again. Basically, stress is the body's fight or flight response meant for survival.
Yeah,
Originally helped humans escape predators and handle danger. And
exactly. That's what
the
that.
third
Yeah.
bullet point is now we stress over emails, deadlines, and social media instead of lions.
Hey,
I think
bro, I'm actually so good at
that's
this.
the
God damn.
that's pretty much it. Like summed up, and that's
Holy.
and I think that's it. Like in this day and age now, I think with the technology where we are, it's almost like we've reached the ceiling of this type of human. If you know what I mean, like
Oh yeah,
this
yeah.
primitive.
100%.
We've reached a ceiling. Like the human race needs to evolve. We need to evolve past
Yeah,
stress. We can't be living
at
out of
the
stress
current
anymore.
like state we're in, just look what's happening in the world all over the place. I mean, this is
Yeah,
like talking politics, but we are not evolved enough
yeah,
to survive the issues that we are currently facing of like energy crisis,
Yeah,
not enough like not enough population to sustain all these other things. All the problems we're having? We're still arguing over stupid shit like, oh no, this fucking land used to be
yeah.
mine or my country's land 800 years ago, therefore it now belongs to me, and you have to move out. It's
It's
like,
all
what are
just
we doing?
pointless stuff. But I literally
So many
when I was
people are
walking,
dying for it. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
I was walking the dog last night. This is exactly what I was thinking about. This kind of evolution, because I was kind of thinking about this topic. So I was having a think about
Prepping.
evolution and stuff, and I was like, I think the human race now, the society we live in, we are controlled. It's basically taking our free will away because we're controlled by our subconscious feelings like fear, stress. Like the stress
Yeah,
glues us to the things like we spoke about earlier. Like so we are controlled by fear and worries and anxieties.
yeah. We're
And then I
we're still
thought
controlled by our primitive emotions that
exactly.
we had for like from like day one.
And then my thoughts were like for the human race to evolve, we have to transcend the subconscious mind and start living out of the conscious mind and not
Yeah,
being attached to these fears and anxieties and worries, not being stressed about them, but letting them
yeah.
go
Focusing
and
on
letting
focusing on
life
like
just happen.
bigger important issues like your own
Yeah.
well-being and
And just
how
not
to like
stressing about
again.
everything, just not even like anything
Yeah,
that happens. I think allowing life to just happen, I think is the best way because it's got us this far. Like, look at everything around nature, like stars being born. That's epic, and life, consciousness has just it's just done that. Like, it's just happened, right? We didn't need to interfere. We don't need to interfere with anything. Say if the human race evolved past a point of like sub- operating on a subconscious level, I think
Mm.
consciousness would take it in a direction where we just advance even more and just be like it would just be a happier race. Like imagine not having
Yeah, hundred
fear.
percent.
Imagine if every single human had control over their emotions and control over their reaction to things. Like
Yeah, 100%.
genuinely, that society. I can't even like think about it, but it would be an actual evolved society. Like we'd be a whole different species at that point. But I think we have the like individually. I think there is the possibility of evolution because if all of us actually work towards not being attached to, not stressing about
I mean,
fears and stuff. Imagine like just
that's
a
a that's a perfect like idealistic reality
yeah,
that is never going to be achievable. However, I don't
not now,
think
yeah,
that means that I don't think that means that it's impossible for us to improve
yeah.
as humans, right?
I think it's
Our,
possible
our
one
our
day.
own race can
I think
definitely improve. Now, the problem is humans are fundamentally made in a certain way
yeah,
that you can't change. Like on the
yeah. To
very
be
very
fair,
fundamental
I'm
level,
talking
you
like
can't. There's some things you can't change.
thousands of years in the future, like
But at that point,
actual
would most
evolution, where we're not
that
humans anymore, basically.
evolution would most likely require us to have some sort of hybrid of like computer slash human existence. Like every human has to be some sort of almost like a half AI, half like human,
Yeah, I don't know.
and where you could possibly remove some emotions that aren't like
Uh,
necessary.
yeah, I don't know if that would be
Uh,
like that's the only. I think there's other
I
we don't know, but I don't like in this
no,
day and
we also
age.
don't know, yeah, but
Obviously,
I
not
don't
everyone can
think
do it, but I think say you look at
I don't.
because there's people who live without stress, right? There's people you think about. What I study and read into is all like the monks and Buddhist people
Yeah,
who
but they,
just
they can't live
meditate.
without society.
They can't live without society, yeah, 100%. But then also, imagine if everyone had the same mastery over kind of their emotions and disconnected from.
Yeah, but what I'm worried about is when you get to a certain point of mastering your own emotions, I think it would impact our ability as a human race to like keep pushing forward in a fast pace because everyone is so content.
Then do we need that? Why do we need to
Yes,
push forward in a fast pace?
because we have huge problems as in, for example, like energy crisis. We need
Oh yeah.
constant more and more energy to the point where like we need newer, like better innovations of everything everywhere constantly. And if everyone is kind of just like, you know what? No, I'm zen.
So then
Then
stress could be a
there's
good
no
thing.
drive anymore. No,
Going back to earlier.
that's not
But then if
stress.
you,
That's a drive for wanting to be better, and for
it's
to have a
born out of
drive.
fear of not having energy. Like it's born out of that.
Not necessarily, but it could be that as well.
Because I think
But either
it's
way,
a problem is it's negative, right? And it's worry. We're worried about not how like running out of energy. We're worried about all those things. That's why I was saying earlier about stress being kind of also a good thing. But I think we can look at that and
that's
say,
just more a worry, though. That's just more a worry. I mean,
but then
the
we won't
stress
do
would be
anything
like,
about
oh,
it unless we're stressed about it because that's what we need to be glued to that worry then to actually take action. So I think,
no,
but then
I think you could still. There's plenty of things you do in your own life out of worry or like whatever, but doesn't like include stress. The problem is when you get to the point where you master your emotions completely, all of those thoughts would most likely disappear because you're so content with how you're living. Every time you start worrying about something, you just be like, "But I'm content.
I don't
Like
think
I'm fine with
they
how like
wouldn't
things are."
disappear. They'd be, I think the thing they're always there because we're still human. It's just whether or not they affect you. It's whether or not you actually take action in accordance
Yeah, but
to
you have
what
to
you think.
fundamentally change the human on a basic base level to be able to get rid of those basic human emotions.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by like I don't think we'd be humans anymore if we have evolved to that kind of state. I think it would,
Yeah, that's why I said I
but
think
then
you
I
have
think
to
that
have
would
some
come
sort of
with
hybrid of something else, as in like a
yeah.
computer or some
But
shit like that.
would that I don't know if I just can't. You can't comprehend. Like I can't comprehend a
But
human
yeah,
that
no,
isn't
you
a
can't.
human.
You really can't.
I think
That's
we've
good.
reached like a wall. But obviously that's yeah. That's what
That's an
happens.
impossible future to predict.
Yeah, 100%. But like, just imagine we become. I don't know. I don't know. Like some create like beyond
Yeah,
this
I
dimension.
think
I don't know.
the like in the nearest future. I mean, like I just hope so. Like that humans will start getting better at controlling their emotions instead of just
Yeah.
constantly acting on them. I mean, that is
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
we have so many problems. And I think definitely stress is one of those things where I don't think it would take much to kind of teach people techniques from an early age on how to realize that they're like overstressed or like stressing about something,
100%.
how to like deal with them and tackle their
Yeah.
problems, and not be as stressed further down the line. Because most things when it comes to stress are usually things you just haven't tried yet, right? But after you
Yeah.
try it, you end up. I mean, depending on
It's
how it
never as
goes, of
bad as
course.
you
But
think.
for the most part, you end up going like, "Wait, why was I so stressed
Yeah.
about this thing?"
Exactly. It just happens.
It
You're
just
like, oh,
doesn't.
because
It's just
it's
like it
always gonna
wasn't
happen
anything
one
to
way or
really
another.
stress about.
Life's gonna happen, and either way, you're gonna
Yeah,
get through it.
exactly,
Like, there's
exactly.
no
And so, for a lot of things, for a lot of areas, for a lot of people, I think it would be quite easy to like teach them about how to deal with stress and not like limit their options or limit their
yeah.
experiences because of stress.
No, hundred
I think
percent.
generally speaking, that will probably be quite a net positive for
Yeah, I think,
humanity as a
but
whole.
the thing is, like, stress is what drives the current society to get what you know. The think of it as a pyramid, like the when it comes to money and the
In a way,
greed.
yeah.
Stress drives that. Stress is what makes people work. Like the fear of yeah, stressing out over the fear of not having enough money or like and stuff like that. That's kind of
I think
stress is what drives people to yeah run this, this current society we're in
yeah, I think
basically.
especially if you see America, I think
Yeah,
a lot of the corporate like side of things is run out of keeping people stressed out of
yeah.
like you make one mistake, you get booted out, right? That
That's
is a
stress. It's
stress-inducing
like that.
society.
It's like a but. It's like a the fuel of the this fire of the society, and then
Yeah,
like I'm imagining
I
the
mean,
corporate like
obviously,
Wall Street. Do you know like Wolf of Wall Street? Everyone running about
yeah,
Like that's it. That is stress. Stress is like the oxygen supplier.
That is the modern day equivalent of like a stressful
Lion
situation. Is
chasing you. Yeah.
that sort of environment is just stress inducing because that's how it's kind of been created.
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessary to be that way, but that's
No.
just how it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I
I agree.
genuinely don't think it ends up being positive for like worldwide for like humanity as a whole to have a important sectors to being that stressful in that sense. I think it just
Hmm.
limits people a lot because people are usually not allowed or dare to try like different things or alternatives or anything like that. For the most part, it's about money, right? I mean, if they come up with too efficient ways of doing things, the price goes down, and these fucking elites just lose money, right?
Hmm.
So, to some degree, as long as we have this kind of, we still have a hierarchy in our society.
Yeah. 100%.
It's not as prominent as like noble status, but I mean, you have
It's
money or you
always
don't have
it's
money.
there.
That's
Yeah.
how
It's
that's
it's very
that's how it is right now, and that is
yeah.
very detrimental to the human race as a whole because there's so much progress, like it's limited
That's
to
the
keep
thing
those people in power.
because the people in power obviously there's less of them, and the human race can't
There's a
evolve
lot less.
unless everyone evolves. The people that are
Yeah.
important are the ones who are at the bottom of the pyramid because that's the masses. But then they are like they are the most subconscious. They are working off the most subconscious level because of the fear and the stress that's
Yeah, they're
induced
being
by the
forced
people at
to.
the top.
They've been forced to.
Yeah, and it's that buck. Stress is yeah. Going back to earlier, stress is the bucks that's keeping us all kind of ticking over and
Exactly. It
making.
just keeps us busy doing like menial tasks every day. Kind of like
Mm,
how the peasants were back in like the Middle Ages.
yeah, we're just modern day peasants.
Uh, yeah, the average
Yeah,
working like person is the modern day person.
we
I
just have
mean,
more
nothing's changed really.
stuff. Yeah, it's just.
We just, I mean,
I guess
I'd say in
the
some
scales just
societies
kind of moved that
the
way.
scale
Like
is a lot smaller, and I think societies like the Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, everything, those kind of societies have gotten a huge leap from that society, right? I mean, if you look
yeah,
at the average American versus like the average Scandinavian,
no, that's true.
the situation is way different because we don't have to stress about. Let's say you get sick, like you get very sick and you have to go to the hospital.
Mm,
You're not in endless debt. Like this stressful situations like that
yeah,
can easily be avoided in today's society, uh, which I think a lot of countries are already figured out. But then you still have countries like, unfortunately, the USA, where it's just like a hyper capitalistic, like stress inducing. You have to be like stress
yeah.
to climb the ladder, and it's just not. It's not a good
It's
way of
not
doing things.
like it's
It's not
not
healthy. It's not
it's not
effective.
healthy and it's not fulfilling because as
It's
soon as you've got to the
no,
thing you've been
no.
stressed out about, you're gonna start stressing about the next thing. It's just an
Yeah,
endless
because that's
cycle.
just
You're
how
like
it
a
is. That's just how that's how it's defined or like built
yeah.
built.
It's that whole it's the rat race, isn't it? That's what it's called.
Yeah, literally. It's like which small little peasant can make it to the top first,
Yeah,
and then close off the exit.
and the I think if we all tried to live without stress, which I think the kind of definition we came to earlier, which is just not being attached and glued to the worries and anxieties. You're
Yeah,
not saying
yeah,
you're always going to have worries. Yeah, it's natural.
yeah. You're
That's
always gonna have
those
things you
thoughts
are
always going to
stressed
happen.
about, and you will always have stress at some point. But it's just being more aware of it and not letting it uh
Understanding what you're
hinder you.
stressed, but like if you're stressed about something, understand why you're actually stressed about it. Okay, is this what stress was in my brain for? Is this a lion chasing me? No,
And make sure it
it's
doesn't
probably
stop you
not.
from doing things
Yeah,
that you want to like try or like or do.
and I think we always kind of talk about the same sort of things. It's gratitude, isn't it? The more grateful you are, the less stressed you are because you're happy with where you are right now. I think I always kind of end up coming back to
I
that.
think stress is also more of a just being aware of the fact that you are stressed. In a lot
Yeah.
of cases, it's easier to answer the question. It's like, wait, am I really gonna let stress stop me from doing this thing I
Mm.
wanted to do for so long? Like, really, is that worth it? After all this time or effort into trying this thing, am I really just like the last step? I'm just gonna
And I think
retreat and pussy out because of stress.
the other side of it is if stress is driving you to do things, think about why you're
Yeah,
actually. Think
yeah,
about, okay, if I'm really stressed and I feel like I have to do this because I'm stressed about it. Just think, okay, do I need to do this, or can I let go of this stress? Can I let go of these worries and then allow kind of life to happen? I think the more you just let go of these worries and fears, life it actually just happens. It's effortless. Life is
yeah.
very
It's like
effortless.
no matter how much you stress, anything can happen at any point, right? So either way, you could be really stressed about something and it goes bad or well, and then sometime maybe like tomorrow or a few hours later, something else will happen that I've completely nullified
Mm.
whatever happened, and then it's like you've really stressed for no reason.
Yeah, so waste of energy. You're getting pulled from the flow of that
It's a
line what I was talking about
complete
earlier.
waste of
You're just
energy.
getting pulled from the just that flow of life. You're just getting pulled away from it. You're just slowing yourself down.
Yeah,
If you let go, life will just happen and good things will happen. Like, it's almost, you need to have faith and trust that life will present you with good things. If you don't need to stress about it. That's the thing. There is no need. And I think I'm very convinced of this myself because of the last kind of few months of my life. I have kind of
yeah.
stopped stressing now. Now I've like got a new job. Like, life's good, and I'm like, it's just happened. These I didn't stress
Life's
to
on
try
the
and.
upturn.
I wasn't stressing about getting a job. I was just kind of. I went, you know what? It's actually fine. And then things just happen. Like, it just you can't you can't plan out life. That's something of that's something
No,
else. That's
no, that's not
something else
possible.
is doing that. And
There's
but
too
trust the
many
plan.
variables. There's too many variables in your
Yeah,
life that's gonna happen all the time. There's no one single plan that will ever work out the way you
exactly.
intended
It's
to when
like
you made it. It's
my
just not
example
possible.
with this job. I had to be in the right place. I had to see the job. I had to apply for it. They had to accept, look at my portfolio.
They had to be
I
in
had to
need of someone at that point.
exactly. I had to have the pictures on my website. It all had to be in place to get there. But the thing is, stress didn't do that. That was just life. That was just the flow of life because it's happened. Because it's happened, it was
And
meant to happen.
if you were stressed out about it, maybe you wouldn't have sent the application because
Exactly.
you were like, oh, what if they don't answer? What if they don't do this?
Well,
What if,
I could
okay,
have
I'm
sent
actually
it,
like,
and
you know what, all of these things.
I think if you're stressed, you're subconsciously taking on negative feelings, and if you impress negative feelings, you're going to express it from your subconscious as well. So, say if I applied out of stress, say if I was doing things from stress, the things that I express is not going to be as good as if I was just putting my all into
Yeah,
what I'm doing and just being kind of accepting of it. As soon as I was doing that, I think my pictures were probably better. Like, I probably did a better job on the interview when I
because
was
you probably
talking to them.
people humans are really good at picking up on like subtle hints.
Yeah, we're
So if
very
you're a very
very good.
stressed person, even if it's just like a an application, like a written application, you can almost tell if someone is stressed
Mm.
when they've written something
Yeah,
because it feels stressed
and especially in
when
an
you're like
interview as
reading it.
well. We're pattern
And
recognition
I mean,
computers. That's what we are.
an interview is insanely easy to see if someone is stressed or not, obviously. But I'm saying even in your applications,
Mm.
it is easy to tell if someone is stressed or not when they've written the application. If they're like a very stressed person, because you can kind of get a feeling for
You
how they write
subconsciously
or
pick
like
it up.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And so like either way, when you kind of get the more nonchalant attitude of like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna search for this job. If I don't get it, it's fine. I do want it, so obviously you're gonna give it like your best try. But if I don't get it, it's fine. We'll
yeah.
just find
It's
like another
detaching from
opportunity
the.
down the line. Like it's just, it's not that it's not that serious.
No, that deep. That's it. Like,
It's not
if
that
you can
deep.
detach from the outcomes and remove expectation, you know,
Yeah,
if you can actually detach from the end goal and attach yourself to right now, attach yourself to the journey to get there. Just put your all into whatever you're doing right now, whatever it is. Everything's the same. Put your best energy into it. The external things will come,
yeah.
and that's
Focus your energy on trying and
and just
doing
doing your
like the
best.
most
Yeah,
you can and doing your best and putting the most effort you can into something instead of wasting a bunch of energy
and stressing.
on I again I'll say it again. Stress is literally nothing. It's a
Yeah.
complete nothing
It,
burger.
it,
Like you get
nothing bad.
absolutely nothing from eating that.
Yeah. Imagine a burger where it's
There's
just
just
bread.
it's
And
like
the
a
bread
burger
the
with just
bread
a
dissolves when
huge
you touch it. It's literally
yeah,
nothing.
it's a burger. It's just the bread, and the second you bite into
Do
it,
you know?
it just
Do you know when you put
disappears,
like
and
uh
you've not gotten any satisfaction from eating it or anything. Like, it's literally
yeah?
nothing, but somehow you gain calories.
Do you know when you put cotton candy into water, it just disappears?
Yeah,
That's the stress burger. They
no
just
stress.
it's nothing.
But then you still ingest all the calories and get all the negative effects
Yeah.
from the cotton candy, just none of the enjoyment.
We're yapping. We I think
Bro,
we
we're cooking. What do you mean?
yeah we know we're cooking with that one. That was a
We're
really good
cooking nothing burgers
analogy.
up.
But no, I think stress is just
Yeah, but
yeah
on a serious
pointless.
note,
You know when you're
stress is
actually
probably the biggest hinder to
yeah,
anyone
it's just
in,
slowing you
in
down.
in the world.
It's just all you're doing is resisting the whole universe, and every single moment has led to that moment. You're resisting everything. Do you realize how stupid that is? How are you going to take on the whole of time and the universe? It's not going to happen. It's going to happen exactly how the universe and time wants
Yeah,
it to happen.
you're not that guy, pal. You're not that
You
guy.
cannot you cannot just like take it on. So
You're not.
if you're stressing,
No one is Thanos
you're
in reality.
resisting
Like
like
you literally can't take on the
everything.
universe.
You can't resist everything. There can't be that can't happen. You're
And
just
again,
a little human.
this is not saying that you're not supposed to like worry about things or be nervous about things or be excited about things. It's just that
Yeah.
extra step of being stressed. There's just no
Don't
point.
attach yourself to it. Those because those feelings are gonna happen. You're a human. Those feelings happen. They just spawn out your subconscious into your brain, and you're like, you look at it, and if you're stressed, you're going, oh, that thought is me. That thought is literally, oh
Yeah,
my god, that's real. That's me.
yeah.
That is my identity. No, it's not. Don't stress about it because it's not you. You're the one watching it. You're just listening. You're just going, oh, damn, that thought's just spawned. That's cool. And you can choose what to do. That's the free will, choosing what to do, like in reaction to the thoughts and stuff you get.
On being stress free.
Yeah, live stress. That I think that's it. Like that's
That's
it.
the
Live
that's
stress free.
that's
Like do
that's the
obviously
life lesson for today. Live stress free.
we'll
Or
try.
to the best of your
What's your
ability, obviously.
practical advice to live stress free? I'll say for me what's worked it's like meditation, exercise. It's very simple stuff. But you just have to do it. And just it's that awareness. Actually, kind of pick a day.
I think
Like next Sunday. Go today. I'm gonna live this whole day without judging my thoughts. I'm gonna exist today and not react from my thought. If you do that for a day, you'll notice yourself not being stressed. You'll be like, oh, it's not actually that bad. And gratitude as well. I think they're my top things.
for me, first step is like realizing that you only have one life, right?
Mm.
So how much do you want to hinder your own experiences and own life on stressing out about anything like or like whatever it is you want to try or do? Like how badly do you want to mess with your own opportunities in the current time that you have just for like a simple feeling of stress?
Yeah,
That's like the first thing I think about usually if I'm like, oh, let's say I'm stressed about I don't know, it could literally be anything at all. If I feel like I'm starting to go down the path of like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do this, what if this happens, what if this happens? Literally every single time I'm like, okay, wait, I only have one life. I mean, the saying YOLO is cringe, but it literally it's it's such an easy way of thinking. So you literally only have one life. Why not just try it once, you know? Just try it once, see what
just
happens.
experience, man.
Just try it once, and if you still feel the same feelings afterwards, maybe it just wasn't the right thing, and that's fine. But at least try it once and see how it works out. And to genuinely living like a stress-free life, I think for the most part, you need to find something that you enjoy doing that is
Yeah,
stress-free.
And I think you don't even need to search for it though. Don't force
No,
that to
no, no,
happen.
no.
Let it
No,
come
but
to you.
whatever you
But
like doing, like your spare time or whatever, or maybe you actually like going
yeah,
to work, like whatever it is, you need to do something. I'd say almost every day that you actually genuinely enjoy doing, like an actual
mm,
hobby, like that you like and truly enjoy, to just take your mind off whatever it is that you're worried or stressed about
yeah,
in like your daily life, and just having that moment of like peace and not thinking about all the negative aspects of whatever is happening.
yeah.
For gamers, that's very easy because we
True.
have our
Yeah, but then
games,
we
even
get
though we do
stressed over the
rage.
game.
No, no, you do rage and you get annoyed, but I wouldn't say you ever
Still
get
fun.
actually
Yeah.
stressed over it
No,
because
I've
then
never been
you wouldn't keep doing it.
actually stressed over C. This
I'm been
week,
pressed
however,
about
has
games, but
been
not stressed.
it's been a
Yeah,
good
you've had a
it's
bit
been
of
a
a
good
different,
week. I've not even
different.
genuinely. It's I feel great. A week off of Siege has actually done wondrous things for my mental health. I'm quite grateful. You know, I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, you know what? It was meant to happen. It was a gift. This was what happened in the flow of life. I just wanted to mention a book I listened to last week while I was obviously I had a lot of time driving to work and back. It's called The Surrender Experiment by a guy called Michael Singer. Um, and he basically he tells his story about how he kind of chose to live a life without stress. And what he did, he did a thing he called the surrender experiment, where he literally surrendered to life and kind of said yes to everything that just came his way, and everything that was how he just accepted it, and didn't allow his likes and dislikes to make him choose what to do. So there'll be moments where his voice in his head would be like, "Oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, we don't want to do that. Don't do it." But he was like, "No, I'm just going to surrender to life and just do it." And then he tells his story, and through doing that, he builds like multi-million-dollar companies. He does so much. You'd think like you have to stress to achieve, but it all just happened for him because he just kind of surrendered and just said yes to things. And during this whole time, he just lived in the woods in like a meditation retreat, and that's all he did. And it's a really interesting story. I would recommend it. Yeah, the surrender experiment, because it really made me think. I was like, yeah, you don't need to try. You genuinely don't need to try. Like life is it's effortless. Think about the path of least resistance. Like when things grow, like it always chooses the quickest path. Like I think there was an experiment that's like a maze, and they put like I think I don't know if it was fungi like mushroom or something, and it finds the quickest way out of the maze, the way it grows. And I think
Oh,
in
that actually sounds cool to look
there's a
at.
country where they based their like subway system off of like mushroom mycelium or whatever it is,
Oh shit,
because it's
that's cool.
efficient. Because life is
Yeah,
efficient. It just happens. That's how we got here. Stars they just happen, but they're efficient. We don't. And for us to think we have to try, like our little brains have to. You're just going against the whole of the universe and how it is. Like you just you don't need to try. Things just happen, and I think it's great.
I mean, you have to try it to some extent.
Try
You don't
as
have to
in
force it.
physics. Yeah, yeah. Don't force it, but you don't have to try and make things happen. Try as in you have to try like put your all into your experience. Like experience life to the fullest. You have to. Probably there's a difference between like laziness and not forcing something to happen. But on a mental
Yeah,
level, you don't need to try. Physically, you have to try. Obviously, like in the gym and things like that, you have to exert effort. But
yeah,
that's
you don't have to
physical.
force anything, which I think is like the
That's
big difference.
yeah,
If things aren't meant to be, they're simply not meant to be.
exactly. And it's just not attaching yourself to it. It's finding that space between the observer and your thoughts and your mind. You're the observer. We always kind of end up on the same note. I think this is definitely my doing. I just kind of say the same thing every week, but it's like
No, I think
it's the
everything
more I
is
say it,
connected when it comes to the humans, like human brains and human activity and everything. Everything
honestly,
is
yeah,
connected,
I
so
think
it doesn't.
it's almost
It's not that
anticlimactic. It's not complicated. Like there is a
not as complicated as we would like it to be.
yeah, and that's what I've found. I'm like the reality, like the truth is, you actually there's not much to it. It's what I say every single week. Like I'm not saying it for the sake of it. I'm gonna keep saying it because it might help someone, you know. And the more I say it, someone might take it on board. And also, it reinforces it for myself. This is all about me, actually. This podcast.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It always
genuinely
has
just a
been.
weekly therapy session for us. It's great.
Yeah.
Don't really care about
But
the
yeah,
viewers.
I think on that note,
It was good. Don't stress. Yeah,
don't stress or try to
I
stress
enjoyed
less.
that. Yep, it was pretty good, and I feel like I'm completely stress free now because we spoke about it.
Yeah, it's that easy. It's really that
Yeah,
easy.
actually, to be fair, talking about your stress, like just talking about it,
It does
actually makes a
actually help.
difference.
To be fair.
Like, I do feel less stressed because we've just analysed it for 50 minutes. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. What else do we say? Comment? Like? I don't know.
Live your life.
Yes, sir. Live your like. Tell your friends. Should we start? Should we start trying to promote the podcast?
Yeah, why not?
You know,
Yeah, tell your
to be
friends
fair,
about.
if
Tell
you
your
made it this
stressful
far,
friends about this episode.
if you actually enjoyed the episode, we would appreciate it if you shared it with people you think would benefit. Because like
From
we've turned into like a
living less,
philosophy self-help podcast.
almost like a motivational
Yeah,
podcast at this
it's pretty
point.
good. I like it.
That's fine. We
Would
need more of those in the world.
yeah, true. Instead of the do you know the memes on TikTok where it's like we need to put a ban on podcast equipment because it's just two teenagers yapping about absolute nonsense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. But yeah, if you made it this
Yeah,
far, tell someone that stresses a lot about the episode, and maybe it'll help them.
yeah.
Who knows?
We will see you next week for episode 16.
It's our 3 month, 4 month anniversary.
Yeah,
There.
yeah. We will see you soon.